The Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast is dedicated to all things Horus Heresy. This podcast delves into the grimdark universe where Primarchs clash, legions rise, and loyalties fracture faster than a Land Raider's track. But it's not just about the lore of the Horus Heresy. The Accountabilibuddies also explore the gaming side of things, from painting and modeling tips to product reviews and ideas to help you in your hobby. So, whether you're a seasoned Forge World veteran or a fresh-faced scout, this podcast is your Vox channel to the galaxy. Expect discussions on lore, modeling, gaming, and maybe even the shenanigans that your hosts somehow seem to find their way into. Remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there are only two things you can count on: Heresy and your trusty Accountabilibuddies.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Heresy Accountabilibuddies, episode 92 of our podcast. As always, or close to always, I am Duncan, and tonight I am joined by my friends.
Jack?
Jamie.
And John.
Was that a first one?
Yes, you would. It's kind of alphabetically how it goes. But we got it right.
J.A. I guess so. If you say so, I trust you. I don't know how to count.
That's okay. I don't think counting is actually working in that, but I think it would be alphabetical, but I'm okay with that. Anyway, welcome to episode 92, everybody. Before we kick off into the main content of tonight's episode, or tomorrow's episode, or whenever you're listening to this, here's a word from our sponsors.
Do you love resin bases? Then go to our sponsor, Elric Hobbies, for all of your basing and basing accessory needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a discount. Legendary Monument Hobbies. Monument Hobbies is a one-stop shop for all of your painting needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a 5% discount on your purchase. Pop Goes the Monkey. Find maker of third-party accessory bits of arms, legs, backpacks, and more, where you can get 10% off your first order over $125 with code HERESYABB at checkout.
And now that we're back from that, we're
Thank
going to
you to our
give
patrons.
a special thank you to our patrons. And we're going to go ahead and remind everybody about the contest we have going on. John, would you care to remind people what's going on and what we're giving away and what they have to do to get it?
Absolutely. So we're in episode 92. Before episode 99 drop, you have to go into our Discord. We found on heresypodcast.com and go to our contest channel and post what your favorite part of the podcast is. That can be one of the previous topics we've covered, or you can say, I like the way Jack paints blue. But either way, you got to post whatever your favorite part of the podcast is. And if you're a patron at the time of the drawing, you'll get an extra entry into the drawing. And what we're going to do is we're just going to draw one person for that, and they're going to get a copy of The End of the Death Volume 3 Collector's Edition.
Yep. Which, by the way, as always, thank you to John for acquiring that. I know we're all very happy that we actually have that for the giveaway. And as always, before we go into much of the rest of everything, let's go ahead and do our hobby progress. I'll go ahead and start us off tonight. Since we didn't record last week, I'll go ahead and tell everybody what I did get done the past 2 weeks. Primarily, I only worked on stuff during the hobby hangouts, which we do every Wednesday night in the Discord. Hope to see you there soon if
Nice
you're not
plug.
already coming in. Yeah, thank you. I have been working on more Rampagers. I have a batch of Rampagers who are now sealed, ready for their decals, ready for their last bits of spot detail before giving them a very nice enamel wash of dirty to make them all disgusting and funkied up before cleaning that off and then putting on their final glow for like the eyes and their weapons and whatnot. I have another 20 of them who are just about to that same point. They just primarily need the seal put down on them, and then they'll be ready. Hopefully, I'll get most of those guys done to that point as well this week on the Wednesday. I have managed to order some stuff, but nothing that I've ordered yet for hobby-wise has shown up. I don't think I've done much else hobby-wise. So I will send it over to Jack. Jack, what have you done the past 2 weeks hobby-wise?
Well, 2 weeks ago, almost to this time, I edited and put up a podcast.
Yay!
Then I joined a hobby hangout. Then I came into the house and I moved my hobby chair from point A to point B. I looked at a mastodon and went, man, I really need to paint that. Then I moved the chair back. And then I wrote a custodies list that is really broken to make sure I still knew how to do stuff. Then I decided I need to come up with an Adepticon list. And then I didn't come up with an Adepticon list. Then I was really thankful that Duncan is doing the teams list, so I don't have to deal with that this year. And then I kicked it over to Jamie.
So much like Duncan, I've really only been working on stuff during a hobby hangout past couple weeks with everything going on in my life, and I finished up 3 saber tanks and a Dorodio dreadnought, and broke one of my harder H&S airbrushes, trying to fix it. So I got to get a new needle and nozzle, and yeah. That's pretty much it. Trying to decide if I'm going to start on White Scars Toys for Tots Army next, or keep on going on some Dark Angel stuff. So, anyways, and oh yeah, we talked to Duncan and we nailed down the list for the White Scars. So,
Yep.
Not a whole lot different than what was there before, just a couple changes. So, anyways, I guess I will pass to John.
Yeah, so since we missed last week, I'm a little bit the same creek as y'all. So I got all of the toy parts removed from the his tank sentinels. They're all 1/35th scale Jada toys. They're almost like backup Lego cars, except they don't have any smarts in them, and so they have these like rolling wheels on them. And so I flipped them over and super glued the crap out of the wheel assembly, and then nipped off all the rubber parts and all the wheel parts so I could make them flat and sit on their bases a little better. And then I managed to, during our hobby hangout, get all of my actual tanks that I'm building from Adepticon's past, and got all those not only painted up in the different kind of blacks that I'm doing, but I also got them all sealed for decals this week. So I'll be going through and putting all the decals down on those. I got some ogres from friend of the show, Michael. He and I've been doing some trade-offs, and he printed me some stuff. And I got him to print me up some snake armor from the old G.I. Joe Cobra days. There's a company out there making some nice 3D files, and so they call it asp armor, but I got a copy of that, and he printed me some off in roughly 30 millimeter scale, so they're a little bit small for like Karenite Ogrins, but I think they'll work great for the just Ogre and Ogrins that are just going to be flipped off for militia. And I need to get those finished up for Texas Open as well. And so I got all those assembled and primed. And then this weekend was kind of a primer event for the Texas Open. Again, the Texas Open is going to be on the 22nd, 23rd, and 23rd, 24th, and 25th of August. So as we're recording, it's going to be the next weekend. But I was able to go in and, or sorry, weekend after next, I was able to go in and kind of supply some stuff to the event we had this weekend from the show. So I donated some primer and some bags of extra bits I got from Spellcrow when I did my last order. And so the show kind of contributed all those. I've got some other stuff from Spellcrow to give out for our contribution to the Texas Open itself. But so this weekend at the kind of primer event, I tried out the Oops All Sentinels list, and I can say that it does not like heavy weapons teams, whether they are the heavy bolter or heavy volkite variety. It does not like reactions, but we all kind of figured that out early on with reactions in general. And the thing I figured out kind of early on was that the Russes themselves were going to be doing most of the killing, and the Russes themselves were doing most of the killing. So I was able to do a lot of kind of splitting things open with those Russes. The first game I lost 18 of the 24 Sentinels on turn 1.
Oh,
And
jeez.
then, yeah, it was bad.
That,
It was bad.
That's impressive.
Yeah, Jackson Stanford had built a Sons of Horus and Death Guard list, and had 2 heavy weapons teams, one of cracked missile launchers and one of heavy Volkites. And when he goes, "Oh, those are your elite choices," and they only have a 3-up save, can you make 35 saves on them? And I just go, no.
Oh my god.
And they disappear. And the crack missiles fire blast templates into the ones that have a 4-up save, so that way I have to make 30 saves on them. They
Oh my
disappear.
god.
Yeah, it was back and forth, and everything disappeared slowly but surely. And then the Eversur looked at the artillery team, and that was as close as he got because they were just out of range every time I tried to move around and get into things. The next game I played my buddy Joel, who's come up a couple times. That one was a little more fun. I got to kill a lot more stuff. I didn't lose everything on turn 1. He has a word bearers list that is pretty much Gal Vorback and Terminator heavy, and so he just charges across the field and doesn't really care what he loses, because whatever does hit your line is going to rip into it, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. And considering I have like no combat in the Solar Rocks list, that's exactly what happened. So I killed a unit of Gal Vorback and Marigal, and then 2 Leviathan Dreadnoughts, and then the other unit and a half of Marigal Gal Vorback got into my lines and tore me up. So that was a lot of fun games. They were both fun games, but definitely a lot more on the receiving end of the first one.
It sounds like it. So, what did you think overall of how it went? I mean, are they something that's fun and viable to play with, or?
Apparently not
No.
with crack missiles and large amounts of Volkite, but
Well, yeah, that's kind of obvious there.
I think that there might be a way to do some of the Sentinels, but I think all Sentinels is not going to be good.
Oh, well,
Because you've only got 2 scoring units, and those 2 scoring units are only 6 models that are T5 with a 4-up save, with 2 of them.
oof. Well,
And
okay.
even the actual Sentinels themselves are a little smaller than the tanks I picked. I mean, they're on 60 rounds, which is the base is the size of a Contemptor Dreadnought base.
Yeah, that still doesn't make sense to me, but that's neither here nor there.
And they're pricey too. I mean, I'm selling out a lot because I'm buying these toys and I'm doing conversions inside of them and stuff, but from GW they're about $30 a Dreadnought, or $30 a Sentinel.
Yeah,
And so
that
the 24 that
is.
I'm running is a lot of moolah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think so. The list makes those 2 line, then you can take the Volkite ones as elites. It also takes up a lot of real estate with those big bases, and then having to take the Russes. There is a mention in there that you're limited to 1 armored fist tertio, which is the tertios that are inside Drakusons. I've never been a really big fan of Drakusons because they're so points heavy and they're so different than the way I really wanted to play Solar Rocks in general. Just they're so points heavy. They're giant bricks of things. They don't really allow you to assault out of them. They're kind of limited. But I almost wonder in this instance if I shouldn't take 1 or 2 just to have some backup line units. The HQ unit with the banner being I think it's line, that helps some because I put that in a tank, or I put that in an Arvis, and I fly that over and go take back corners. That unit actually didn't show up on the first game, and then it showed up with Joel, and his Praetor left the Terminators and charged the command squad. And he was quite surprised when 2 Thunderhammers came out of that unit and slapped him upside the head, and then the commander with a Paragon blade came at him, and he almost died just from the Paragon blade. So he was not expecting 10 little mortals and a little snake robot to put up that much of a fight.
How'd that fight end?
The Praetor won,
Oh,
but
well, yeah.
I put 3 wounds on him, so I almost got him.
I mean, it does work, almost.
I put blast pistols on every one of them more as a funny gimmick than anything, and every turn 2 of them just shot themselves in the face because they get hot.
Oh, well,
So there was that too. So they got out of the plane, and each one of them shoots 2 strength 5 shots, and they're higher ballistic skill because they're better trained. So it's a funny I'm going to dump a crap ton of dice on the table unit, and then you go, oh wait, I have to kill 3 of my own men for that. It's fun. It's a fun gimmick list. It's not. I don't think it's going to win it's not a tournament list, and we're not playing tournament games, so it's not that bad. But yeah, I think if I wanted to play more, it's not going to be my Adepticon list. So if I take Cobra back to Adepticon, it will definitely be something different.
Okay. Well,
And that's all I got.
all right then. Well, do we have any news of anything cool that's been dropped or that's on pre-order that's finally been released or anything like that, John?
Oh, I reckon we got a little bit. We've got the last week we missed was a bunch of Imperial Agent announcements. So there's a bunch of box sets that are coming out that are going to be re-releases of all the Ordos. The first box is a bunch of Arbites with shotguns. So it takes 2 of the Kill Team Arbite boxes, and then the Imperial Agent Arbite box, and an Everster Assassin as one box. That would be really good if you wanted to make up your own Solar Ox list and you didn't like the Solar Ox models. The Arbites come not just with shotguns, but they also come with some little carbines and stuff like that. So you can make some really cool Solar Ox with those that are more Judge Dredd inspired. Then there's also a Sisters of Battle one, and then some characters that will make really good conversions. And then there's a whole Imperial Agent 3-pack, which has the 4 original Assassins and then 2 Inquisitors. So again, we do have access to Assassins if you're an Imperial player. I've been taking an Everster in the Sentinel list, and it seems to kill more on his explosion than he does in combat, because if he uses Friends on to double his attacks, he hits himself on ones. That was last week from GW. This week from GW, we've got coming up a bunch of Necromunda releases. So there's a new Book of Desolation, which covers the 2 new factions that came out in the last box set. I picked up that box set, and I thought what's really interesting is it's not really Necromunda. It's Space Hulk 2.
Yep.
Yeah, it really is.
And so it says on the front, a Necromunda game. So it's not Necromunda. It's its own little thing. You're going to have to buy the Book of Desolation that's coming out to be able to play these guys in Necromunda, and you're not going to be able to field them as you can in the game. So you're going to have to do some converting or do some special working things out if you want to be able to field things in both places. And then there's the old Trezor pattern sentry guns that came out a couple of Kill Team boxes ago. So this is 2 grenade launcher sentry guns and 2 heavy stubber sentry guns, and then 2 little ammo box with readouts. That's going to come as a single sprue.
Okay.
And then all of the old fantasy terrain is finally coming back as a made to order next week. You got the old manor, the watchtower, the gatehouse, and then the arcane ruins, which is where I pulled a lot of parts for when I scratch built my warhounds. Those little skulls that are on the arcane ruins are all flat back. They make really good conversions and stuff for people to make different pieces of terrain with. But that's really it from GW parts. From non-GW, we saw a bunch of Joy Toy previews for some Ultramarines, finally. We got 3 Cataphracti Terminators, a Sergeant with a Zombie Bolter and a Power Sword, a double Lightning Claw Cataphracti Terminator, and an Autocannon Power Fist Terminator, as well as a Leviathan Dreadnought with Multa and Snippy Claw. No word yet on what the next Primarch is going to be. Speaking of that, my Horus that I ordered during the Black Friday or the Amazon Prime sale showed up.
Oh,
And it's a
how's he
real one.
look?
It's gigantic.
Excellent. That makes me
His
happy.
torso is about the size of a Leviathan.
Oh, wow. I've seen pictures of him that a couple of people have been getting.
Yeah.
And he looks amazing.
Yeah, I just slit the plastic, and I haven't really found a place to put him yet because he's just that big.
Yep. Did somebody also get Russ recently that I saw?
Yeah, I've seen some photos of Russ and Dorn out there. I'm really, really been impressed with the Joy Toy figures. I picked up a couple of the Ultramarine Calgar's Honor Guard before. I need to find it, but I found a company that's making, so all of the figures come with plastic capes, kind of a holdover from them just making them, kind of quickly and cheaply. But there's a company out there that makes cloth replacement capes for everybody out there. And so all the miniatures that come with capes. So for the Honor Guard that I've got, I bought the cloth replacement capes, and they have the right designs that are on the capes in the artwork and on the model. And so you get the big gold Ultimas in the corners of the capes, or the little edging of U's and cross patches and things like that. So it looks like the same plastic cape, but it's in cloth with a wire in it, so you can post it a little better.
Nice. I definitely have been looking at acquiring Horus, but in the Sons of Horus, but I haven't jumped on them yet because frankly I've got too much stuff irons in the fire financially wise to be able to justify buying them and just sitting them on my shelf and staring at them right now. Maybe later this year, but not right now.
Yeah, this same company also made Horus's helmet, which is a kind of a cool. It kind of gives me a little bit of the Mandalorian Super Commando vibe, where it's got the little horns coming up and
Horn.
it's got almost a slit visor.
Nice.
And then from Starforge, they came out with a new necklace. It's the Inquisitorial symbol with a Space Marine on it holding a lantern. This is honestly the most expensive necklace they've ever come up with at $250.
Oof, that's a hefty one.
Yeah. So it's silver, and it's the Shadow Breaker Death Watch design apparently. The lantern moves, which is kind of neat for a necklace, I guess, but it's a little pricey for considering most of their necklaces. I mean, I didn't mind paying $100 for a silver necklace, but 250 is kind of expensive.
That does sound like a bit of a punch in the dick. Well, okay. Anything else?
That is everything I've been able to come across.
Okay.
There was a final trailer release for Space Marine 2.
Oh yeah, so we got not only a trailer, which was some of the gameplay was one of the PvE co-op missions, but it was also some of the PvP missions was one of them they were playing, and then they've put out that was like a 10-minute trailer that dropped 2 weeks ago, and then this week they've dropped a bunch of little 3 or 4 minute quick sketches of certain things. So they had one that was 8 minutes long. It was all of the different 6 classes you can choose from, as well as all of the weapons that are going to be available. And then since the game has been kind of previewed, so it's been going live for some of the influencers and things, they've been able to go in and do some previews and testing. And apparently some of the unlocks are going to be tied to weapons, not just to classes. So because bolt pistol is shared amongst a bunch of people, you don't have to do bolt pistol unlocks for every single class. It's just one bolt pistol unlock for everybody that gets access to bolt pistols.
Okay.
So, and then it goes through all the 6 different classes. It looks like, I can't tell if the classes for Chaos are tied to certain gods, or if it's tied to the same classes, and then from there you get to pick your cosmetics or not. Because the only previews they seem to do with PvP is always an Alpha Legion sniper, always a Khorne close combat guy, always a Tzeentch far shooter guy, and always a Nurgle bulwark. So I can't tell if the classes are tied to gods or if they're tied to cosmetics yet.
Okay.
I know my kids, even like Asher, who's 11 or 12, has seen previews not from me, but just like, when he's on YouTube and other stuff. And he's like, I want to get this, Dad. So maybe that's a good thing. I don't know.
Well, I mean that's one big thing we all like is if it's going to have cross appeal to other people out there, if it's going to have cross pattern appeal, and it brings more people into the hobby, that's always a good thing for GW,
Well,
and it's a
that's
good
the reason
thing.
my buddy Joel started 40K was because of Dawn of War. So
Oh yeah, I mean, I had tons of friends that started 40K because of Dawn of War.
Yeah,
The first one.
I mean, I've seen people do it. We all have, and hopefully some of them will trickle over to Heresy.
Yep.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. One thing I want to mention that has been worked on the past couple of weeks is we've already started talks with our art guy. We do have new artwork coming up for everybody. Those will be available on posters, shirts, and sweatshirts and hoodies again later this year. We've already got the preliminaries seen, and they are definitely looking cool. Really happy with how they're working out so far. You guys have seen them without explaining what they are. Do you guys like the direction they're going this year? Pretty good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, they're still same vein, the propaganda style posters, but they're a little different than some of the ones we've had before.
Yep.
I
Yep, they're
really
definitely different.
enjoyed the Baltimore Ravens one.
That's I will say that I am a fan of the one with the Baltimore Ravens on it as well. That was definitely interesting when I saw it. Kudos to Kurt for those, and I look forward to seeing the other two when they're ready. So this year we are doing, I believe it's 5. Are we doing 5 or are we doing 6?
I wasn't in on the final number. I wasn't out around when y'all planned the final number. I know there was 4 or 5 that we had originally talked about.
I think we're only doing 5 this year. We'll see. How many did we do last year? 1, 2, 3.
I think we did you did a bonus one.
I thought I only saw 3.
Last year we did the Alfarius one, the Sons of Horus / Imperial Fist one with the stabbed helmet, the Iron Warriors one, the Mechanicum one, and then we had the bonus Never Trust Erebus one. So last year we did 4 and a bonus, so this year we're just doing a flat 5, I think.
Yeah,
So.
year 1 we had 4.
Year 1 we had the I Want You for the Loyalists. Oh, sorry, we had I Want You for the Heresy. Then we had the Loyalist and the Traitor one. So yeah, so we went 3, 4 with a bonus. No, he was last year.
Oh, it was last year. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, we did 3 the first year, 4 and a bonus last year, and we're just doing a flat 5 this year. So yeah, that makes sense. But those are coming along really well. I like the way they're looking. The few people I've shown them to outside of our group and inside the patrons have all looked at it and said they're really happy with how they're looking so far. But other than that, we've all just been kind of mostly working.
Yeah.
And speaking of working, Jack has been on the road a lot because of work.
I have.
And that has, I think you have. I mean, every single time I call you on the phone, you're like, I'm stuck in whatever the fuck state. I don't know where I am. All I see is corn. Or something like that. Or why are there so many people up here that speak with a Connecticut accent? I mean, things like that are what you tell me, so I just take it that you're not here. So,
have you ever thought it could be the voices in my head?
I wouldn't put it past them. Sometimes those voices in your head are scary, and sometimes they're not. So, if you're thinking it's the voices in your head that are speaking in a Connecticut accent when all you can see is acres of corn around you in a field, then I'm just going to go with, okay, Jack, whatever you say, buddy.
So hobbying on a go. This necessarily does not work for everybody. I know John has his setup, but realistically, the way I approached it is I'm not taking more than what I know I can chew, if that makes any sense. So what I did for myself, and your mileage may vary for everybody, is on Amazon, I found a little locking makeup travel box that's about, I don't know, maybe 2 feet long, 1.5 wide, 1.5 tall. It goes out and has shelves that come out. And I just put in there what I know I can accomplish in a hotel room, working for 15, 20 minutes at a time, more if I have time. And primarily what I've been focusing on, I know John does more, but what I primarily focus on is that's what I put in there is what I'm going to be putting together. So I'll have, paint, hobby knife, clippers, sanding pads, and then whatever models that I'm putting together for that time. I don't worry about paint because I'm not trying to start painting something and then, get into Uzbekistan and realize I picked up the wrong blue. I'm not trying to pack an air compressor because that's 90% of my painting right there with an airbrush. But this, kind of, hobby on the go, just taking what you have. I've even stopped by hobby stores when I'm out on the road. If I burn through what I've already worked on, and I'll pick up something. It doesn't matter what it is, so long as it's not, stupidly, and I can use it for what I got at the house. All that makes sense?
Yeah, I do it a little different. It just kind of depends on what I'm working on. So usually my trips involve flying, so I've got to think about that ahead of time. If I want to be able to cut and work on stuff, I need to have to pack all that stuff separately. So all the clippers and knives have to go in my checked luggage, along with all the toiletries and things like that. Is usually the easiest place to put it. I usually try to do painting if I'm going, but I do contrast or quick painting. Um, I think the funniest one I did was I took all of the Cobra bases 2 years ago with me whenever I would travel, because I traveled like 4 times in 1 month, and so I did all of the painting for those bases while I was traveling. So at one stop I did all the dry brushing on all 200 bases. The next stop I did all the next layer dry brushing, and then did all the base rings in black on the next stop. So each stop was a different color. And just like you said, though, don't take more than you think you're going to do. I love that big monument bag, but it's huge for
Yeah.
doing
So
anything.
what
It's
age?
really good for, yeah, it's good for a con almost. I can get all of the scale 75 contrast paints inside that, and that's about it. It's got spots in the back for models, and that's great, but it's so freaking big for doing anything with it. I took it to my last trip because I knew I was going to stay over the weekend, and I was able to get everything that I brought with me finished fairly quickly. If you're going to paint, I recommend either, most hotels are going to have like a little pad of paper out there so you can take notes. I usually rip off a couple sheets of that and kind of build myself a work area so I don't splash, because I'm usually pretty messy when I paint. I paint fast and dirty, and it kind of sprays everywhere. And then don't be afraid to bring brushes you don't like, because I'm going to get banged up some way. So I've got a little uh, pencil zipper case that I picked up from, I think I picked up the GW one last time I went there. GW makes one that's like a Aquila on one side, and it's like a zippered pouch with spaces for 5 or 6 little pencils.
That's been out for a
I've seen
while.
it, yeah, and they make like ones for makeup brushes and things like that. They're a little better for this, but since I only use like Hobby Lobby cheap brushes, I don't mind just throwing them in a pencil case. Um, and that's pretty much it. I don't bring glue, and I usually don't bring things to build, simply because I'm flying so much. I don't want to put up with the fight of it or accidentally leave it in the wrong luggage, and then I end up having to get special touched by TSA.
Never a good thing to have
Never
a
a good
special
thing.
touch from
Yeah,
TSA.
and
Yeah,
if you,
and I get that a lot anyway because I've got the implant.
Yeah, that makes sense. Whenever I've done travel, which I had to do last year, a little bit, I always I didn't do any painting when I was traveling. But I did take stuff that I needed to work on hobby wise, model wise. I took the actual models, the sprue, that I needed to get models off of. I took clippers. I took a knife. I took scrapers so I could clean up mold lines, and I took glue. And that was really all that I took when I was doing that stuff.
You,
I try
also,
not.
let me
Yeah,
give
go
you
ahead.
one quick thing. I was going to say, I've noticed in every hotel, if you can, find yourself a quick USB rechargeable light,
Yeah,
or an iPad holder or something like that can hold your phone while you're working on stuff. I like to I've got a little foldable phone stand that I put up on the desk that I can watch YouTube tutorials or listen to podcasts on. And then the most important thing is that light. So when I go through an airport, I always have extra batteries on me because I like to screw around on my phone a lot. But while that's charging, I can have that light plugged into the extra USB outlet, because I've never been at a hotel where they have decent lighting, especially for what we're doing.
no, I can say the same thing. I've got a little bit of USB light that I picked up from Hobby Lobby a couple of years ago. It's really small, really short, but it works. but it is just a USB plug. So if you don't have like a regular charger extra for you, it's not gonna be able to plug into anything because the cord's so damn short. Um,
I think the
but
most important thing, though, that I bring with me is a 15-foot HDMI cable to plug into the hotel TV so that I can have something playing in the background that's not coming from my laptop.
okay,
YouTube videos in the background. The hobby hangouts that I got, a couple of hobby hangouts I've been on. That way, I'm not staring at the laptop that I stare at all day, working, doing my work.
I mean that does make sense.
It gives a little bit of delineation between I'm sitting down for work or I'm sitting down for the 30 minutes that I have to do something that is not my job.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
especially when you're traveling, if you're not just immediately zonking out, it's important to have that break.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just even not just the mental part of it,
Yeah.
but the whole utterly disengage from something and distract yourself with something else kind of helps to mentally recharge more than anything else. If that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, as someone who works from home, you've got to find a way to break yourself from keeping on top of both those things.
And if you find yourself, hobbying a lot from the road, start off small. Don't go out and spending $900 on a mobile hobby kit that has this bell, that bell, every single bell, fold out trays, fold out lights. It has a vibrating feature to shake your paints. At least that's what you tell people it's for. Start off small, start off simple.
Yeah, and one thing that so many of us, where we all embrace the airbrush so often, one thing that you got to remember is it's next to impossible to airbrush successfully or carefully or safely in a hotel room. You don't have a vent. If you don't have a quiet airbrush, it's going to cause complaints from the people around you. People are going to come see what you're doing. There's going to be smells. You're not going to have your ventilation hoods. It's not something you're easily going to be able to do. If you have stuff models wise that's to the point of only doing paintbrush stuff, take only the paints you need in your travel hobby kit and use those. And at that point, I wouldn't even take a water cup myself. I'd take one of the free ones from whatever hotel you're at and use one of those.
Don't get the
Yeah.
little handheld air compressor thingy that attaches on the bottom of your airbrush. It's only like 17 psi too. So
Yeah, those are so bad. I got one for hobbies or for terrain stuff, and even for that, it's hard to use.
yeah,
I believe that.
I've had to talk multiple people out of it. And they're like, "Why? I can do it while I'm traveling." I'm like, "Okay, this is why." you know.
Because you
So
sneeze harder.
yeah,
I mean, I know a lot of people have done stuff like using a Dethron, for example. They're up in the middle of the night hobbying, get that one last or two last models done for tomorrow for the next event.
yeah. But Adepticon has a Fort Wapple where it's like legit,
Yes.
like that's different,
Yeah, and
And they don't mind if you break out a full size compressor as long as you're not overspraying.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's the thing is you're not doing anything beyond what you would normally do there. But so many other people are thinking, oh, I can take this with me to wherever and do whatever, and you can't. You really can't. It's a niche game. It's a niche hobby. You can't really explain to people what you're doing and why you're doing it if that's what you're doing. They're gonna be like, "Why the hell are you running an airbrush in your room? Why does it smell like enamel paint?
And,
What have you
I've
done
been
to our
questioned.
air?"
Yeah, and I've been questioned by TSA because I was taking so many paints. Like apparently they try to make up their own rules sometimes for what I'm flying. Like, oh, we say you can only bring half an ounce of this stuff, but because you're bringing 12 paint, those 12 quarter ounces equal 2 full ounces. Therefore, we're going to try to not let you on board. I'm like, I don't want to be an ass, but nothing says that I can't do that. I don't want to be a giant jackass about it, but I've had to push back more than a few times. Like, if that's not what the actual rule says, you need to go get someone to talk it over. We can. I don't mind waiting. And I've had to push back a few times on those type of things. I've had to turn on my hobby light before because they thought it was a bomb or something, and same with laptop trays. So, just be nice with the TSA people. not just because they can throw you off of all flights forever, but because they're also human beings.
And don't bring this stuff when you're on vacation with your family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah, if you're going out to the beach with your people and you're going to be spending time with your kids and your wife or whomsoever, just don't, because that makes them feel like you're ignoring them for this.
It's
Turn the
one
hobby
thing if
off.
That's
you
just
go
not
out.
good for happy.
It's one
Yeah.
thing if you go out with a couple beers or whatever, and you record a podcast while you're on vacation like that by yourself, out sitting outside. It's totally different when you're actually building and painting an entire army when you're supposed to be doing family stuff.
Yeah. We're obviously not authorities on your relationship or your life, but just don't.
Yeah.
It's just disrespectful to the kids and your significant other, and even to
It's
yourself.
not worth burning whatever good boy points you have.
Yeah, you're there to relax. Yes, the hobby is part of your relaxation, but it's a different kind of relaxing.
So yeah,
If
any
your
other notes on
entire
this?
point is, if your entire point is to go out to a place and paint and things like that, do that, but not family time.
Anything else?
Mm.
Well, I've got one more minor announcement to go with Texas Open. So the podcast will also be donating a few things for that. I think I implied a little bit earlier, but we've got a Spellcrow coupon and some other stuff that I'll be donating for that, along with the pulled pork and probably some cookies and some other stuff that I'm going to be making for that. So look
Nice.
forward to anyone that's going to be local for that event. It's being held at the Hyatt in DFW. So if you're flying in, it's not going to be that much of a trip. And I think last year Blake arrived a little early and we went to the Citadel. So if anyone wants to do that again, I'm more than open to doing it.
That's cool.
I know Blake and Christopher are having a big event up in October, early October, up in Madison, which is like suburbs of Huntsville. At I can't remember the name of the store again, but it's like the one that's got the Airbnb stuff in it, and that's Game of Thrones themed. And I heard that they're actually getting ready to add another Airbnb. I think it's Fallout, like a Fallout vault themed.
Ooh,
They're getting ready to add that.
That's
So,
neat.
but yeah, there's a bunch of people that are already signed up from Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, maybe Mississippi already. So, yeah, check out the Bama Heresy page because that'll have all the information for that event. It's a little more expensive. It's a 2-day though. It's like $50, and there's a couple. You need a couple different army sizes because it's kind of like a what do you call it? A escalation style event, if I remember correctly.
Dig it. One thing I want to shout out. I know a lot of people use Battlescribe. I know I've used Battlescribe for years. I'm pretty sure all of us here have.
Quartermaster, but
Well, okay, yeah. But the Battlescribe developer, the guy who actually originally started Battlescribe, I think we all remember a couple of years ago, he dipped out and just kind of went AWOL. And the files have only been kept up by people like May and a couple other dedicated people online. Well, he dipped out, and then Battlescribe went off of the various app stores because he not renewed it yet. Then he came back, promised to renewed it, promised that he would do more updates, and he pretty much just renewed it just so people could, or he could collect more ad revenue from it. Well, and then he never did any of the promised updates. So there has been a kind of groundswell from people, and that has been called New Recruit. And New Recruit has just recently put out an app. Before it was only available online, but now it's actually got its own app. May and May Gelt and company are all doing stuff for Battlescribe and New Recruit. And New Recruit is free, and it doesn't give any ad revenue to the turkey who decided to just dip out on the community and left everyone in the lurch. I've been talking with May a little bit. he has been very helpful with converting stuff over from Heresy Battlescribe to the New Recruit stuff. And he's highly recommending it for people to have fun with it and work with it and shoot out to him and to others if they find bugs or things that aren't working. And I've actually been talking to him, trying to get an interview set up with him for him to come on to the show and talk to us about Battlescribe and the files and New Recruit and the files. And I've also been talking to the guys behind the scenes with New Recruit to try to get them one or two of their developers to come on for the show as well. I can't promise when that'll happen. They're all very busy people. And as we all know, time zones are different, especially when people live in Europe or England or wherever. So working on that to try to get those guys to talk to us and come up with stuff. We'll see if we can get that done shortly. I hope sometime in September to have those interviews done, if not before then, but we'll see.
So,
Cool.
going off of what you just said,
Yes.
I was listening to a different podcast, as you do when you drive.
Yeah.
Not saying what the podcast is, because people have strong feelings one way or other about the people involved in podcasts. And one of the conversations was somebody who used to be really big in the 40K scene, and because of life issues, kind of fell off, and now where they're at in life, as it is for a lot of people, I would put myself in that one. It's impossible to keep track of 40K, because it basically has followed a season model like you do for video games only. Instead of waiting for the new DLC to drop, you're painting a lot of models for the DLCs. I'm extremely thankful that Heresy, that we get updates, but it's not to that same extent where it's impossible. It's a part-time job to keep up with it, because what you just told me about this new app here, was it New Recruit?
New Recruit.
Yeah, I had no clue this was even a thing. I'm sure it was in the group chat at some point.
It was.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, no clue. No dang clue, sir.
Well, it's okay. I've been fiddling with it a little bit myself. It's different. Obviously, those of us who use our own different various programs of Battlescribe or Quartermaster or what have you, we all know how they work because we've been dealing with them for however long. New Recruit works differently, but it does not work badly. It's fairly intuitive. Yes, it's got a learning curve to it, but once you get past that learning curve, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people will say, this is actually working better. It definitely feels new, like it's got that new app shine to it, if that makes any sense. But I, for one, am trying to use it for everything just so I can get used to it, because I don't like every time I open up Battlescribe, there's an ad, and then every few minutes there's a rotating ad, so the guy gets more money off of me, even though I don't want him to get anything since he won't do anything for us. But yeah, it's if you haven't given it a shot yet, I highly recommend giving it a go. It's got the Duncan seal of approval, if that means anything to anybody out there, which truthfully it should not.
You said it was originally only like web based. Is there any? Is it both on iOS and Android?
I believe it's on. I don't have access to the iOS store, but I know it's on the Android store.
It is definitely on the Android store. Sure.
Yeah, you can find it at if you want to try the web one or see if they can link it from the web to whatever app store you have. You can find it at newrecruit.eu. And it's good.
Everybody still there?
No, we all hung up. I think
Okay.
everybody's literally clicking at it and looking at it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't
See
see
here.
it in iOS
40.
right now.
Well, then it might not be available on iOS. I'm not 100% certain there. But I've clicked open mine right now, and I'm sitting here looking at it. And let's see here. I'll
Maybe
go
a
ahead and
couple
add a
things.
Praetor to it. Oops, I added 2 Praetors. Oops. Yep, I got my Praetor, and master crafting a weapon. And no, we don't have any. We don't have a chainsword. Nope. We don't have a bolt pistol. Nope. We replaced those with, yeah, sure, let's have a Thunderhammer. You know what? Let's have 2 Thunderhammers because we can.
This is riveting podcast information right here.
Yeah, I
Riveting.
know, but it's functional, and it like I said, it doesn't feel counterintuitive, and it doesn't seem to make everything act wonky, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, if you're out there listening, and you're wanting something that's not Battlescribe, or you're willing to look at something that's not Battlescribe or Squaremaster, give it a shot. It does work.
The web version looks a lot like is it Army Builder? Do you remember that back in the day?
Army
Yes.
Builder. Oh, that game got so
Yes.
many hours of my life.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Yep, I think we all did.
Mm-hmm. Still got my CD.
Army Builder was the mini game of Warhammer 40K at the time.
It really was.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to figure out how long you can go before you had to pay for it, or uninstall, then reinstall, and do it all over again.
I'd never had to pay for it.
I'm not surprised,
I
Jack.
actually went ahead and paid the, what was it, like $19.99 or $29.99 for the just to go ahead and get it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, my game shop had physical copies, so I said, screw it, might as well.
yep.
I will admit that when I first got Army Builder, I downloaded the free copy that they gave you for testing everything out. And one of the first things I did was go to, I don't remember what the website was, but it was like 40K Online, and I was starting to look for cracks or people who were sharing their code so other people wouldn't have to use it or wouldn't have to pay for it. And I found one, and I did use that for a while. I will admit that fully. So thank you, whoever it was out there that shared that on 40K Online, because I used the hell out of that for years. And honestly, if it was still around, I'd still use it.
Yeah, it was good.
It was.
Do you know that in
John,
fact you cannot have 58 suzerains in one unit?
you can't?
No, that's just garbage right there.
You can't have 58 suzerains suzerains in one unit? That's terrible.
No, that's horrible. That's hateful. I like this. Thank you, Duncan. Give the name of it one more time for everybody out there.
New Recruit. And thanks be to the people who've put it out, and thanks be to May for who's been working on the Heresy files for it, because this is nice. It really is.
Have you put it on our Facebook, a link to it?
No, I have not.
Have you put it on the Discord?
I have talked about it on the Discord, and I think other people have linked it on the Discord, but I don't know if I have actually put a link in the Discord to it.
Have you put it on our Patreons page so our Patreons can find it?
No, I don't have. I have not done that either.
Sucks so much of this whole entire running a media empire. I gotta do everything.
I have failed you, Jack, and I'm sorry. I have failed you yet again. I will continue failing you as often as I possibly can. I just want you to know that.
Wouldn't expect anything less, sir.
You're welcome.
Speaking about failing me, is our Adepticon list done yet?
No. Oh, you mean, wait, do you mean the list?
The models, that part.
No, the models are not done.
Damn it.
Hey, I've got until Adepticon to have them done. I've got until the night before the doubles list or team list or whatever it's going to be before I have to have it all done, right?
Technically?
Yeah.
All right, then. That's all that matters to me, is I have as long as I need to get it done. And if I somehow bone it up, I can go down to the one dude And no, I'm not going to vote it up. I'll have it all done before then.
What else we got, guys?
I can't think I don't think I've got anything else. Anybody else?
That's
No, I'm
it.
good.
All right.
Come to
then.
Hobby Hangout every Wednesday.
Yep. Come on to the Hangout. We do it. As
Yep.
Jamie just said, every Wednesday night. Starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, and it goes, honestly, been going until like midnight, 1 a.m. Eastern Standard, most
I'll
weeks.
probably be missing this week because I'm coming in at about 8 o'clock, so I'll be out.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll
Don't-
be there.
Don't forget about the contest.
Yep. Don't forget about the contest, everybody out there. Go ahead and sign on to the Discord, and go ahead and post in the contest channel what your favorite part of the podcast has been or is, or what you would like it even to be. Or you can just say Jack's dulcet tones, and we'll consider that an entry.
Oh, sweet summer
Yeah.
child.
You are welcome, Jack. You are welcome.
Oh my god. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think. Nova's coming up here soon, right?
Yes.
So shout out to Ben and his team.
Last week or the week before.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Gen Con did just end. Shout out to anybody who did stuff there. And Nova with Ben is going to be August 28th through September 1st in Washington, D.C. So here's to the people who are going to that. Hope everybody enjoys it. Look forward to seeing pictures. Look forward to seeing what GW announces for us. Maybe we'll have Ben come on and talk to us after that's done, so we can kind of get some info there, see how that went. I know that DepthCon's got stuff coming up soon. I think maybe event registration or event previews or something. I don't know. They're doing something.
Usually December, or is
I
that
mean,
registration? I can't remember. Yeah, I don't know.
I think registration is.
Oh, I know what it was. They're going to release a new block of hotels. That was what the thing that they said there was coming up soon.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, because a lot of the hotel blocks went very quick. Well, what a shock! Went very quickly, and then people were complaining, and so I think they were able to negotiate more hotel blocks.
Okay, yeah, that might be what it is. I honestly do not know, but I know that there was something coming up for them. So look forward to seeing whatever the heck that is. Anyway, thank you, listeners, for joining us, the Heresy Accountability Buddies, on this, our 92nd episode. As always, I've been Duncan, and I've been joined by my friends who are
Jack,
Jamie,
And John.
And stay accountable to yourself, stay accountable to your hobby, stay accountable to your buddies, and keep them accountable to you as well. And we will be looking forward to talking to you on our next episode. Y'all have a good night.
have I told you about that one time I did that one thing?
Did you forget to hit the record button?
Like and subscribe, and see ya.